given the recent terrorist attacks, such as the bombings in Brussels, what should the U.S. do to combat the threat of terrorism? For example, would you support substantial ground troops to counter ISIS in northern Iraq and Syria?
Well, what we have now is an incoherent foreign policy and national defense policy by the Obama administration. It's going to take real leadership to have a strategy and solution to destroy ISIS. You know, what we learned today in Belgium is that Abu Salam is a real and still a threat despite being in custody. That his network is expanding, and these attacks are part of a coordinated strategy against free peoples all across the world. It's going to take the United States to fill the vacuum of leadership, to work with our allies, to build a coalition, to go after ISIS and any terrorist organization wherever they exist. It's going to take focusing on here, on an intelligence gathering response. The fact that Apple today is not providing encrypted technology to allow us to track terrorists is wrong, and it requires strong American leadership to force action and to lead a strategy and approach that is going to make everyone here in Maryland safe. The carnage we're seeing in Belgium today, and we saw in Paris, and we saw in San Bernardino, it can happen here. And as a United States Senator, I will put the people of Maryland first to fight and protect everyone in our state and in our country.
Kathy Shalane.
Can you repeat the question?
Given the recent terrorist attacks, such as the bombings in Brussels, what should the U.S. do to combat the threat of terrorism? For example, would you support a substantial commitment of ground troops, U.S. ground troops, to counter the Islamic State, also known as ISIS, in northern Iraq and Syria?
Today's tragedy and terrorist attack in Belgium is horrific. And as a mom and a grandmom, as a wife, I can only imagine how tough it is to hear that news. And it reminds us in America and in Maryland, how important it is that we have a strong defense. All we have to do is look back to San Bernardino, look at Boston, and of course this makes us, in some ways, relive 9/11. Radical Islamic terrorism is real. We have to face it. They want to destroy our country. We need a strong national defense. I'm very proud of my father. He's a 20-year career Army veteran. My father served 1 tour in Vietnam and 2 tours in Korea. And I know how tough it is for those families they leave behind. And I would not commit our ground troops unless I knew that we had a plan that was going to work. Our men and women's lives are too important. We must have strong national defense, and we must protect our borders. And if today's incidents and terrorist attacks in Brussels does not remind us of that, I don't know what will.
Okay, Richard Douglas.
Obviously, it's great coming back home. I said that. The Senate race, 79% of Republican voters are still undecided, according to a Baltimore Sun poll. So it's really anyone's race, but it's going to turn to organization, not just message and profile. We've got a great organization building. A team of volunteers who are making calls, who are activating voters to turn out for us. We're feeling good about our message resonating across the state in all 23 counties in Baltimore City. And we're, I think, in a very strong position to take principled conservative leadership, that message, to the general.
Do you think that this forum today is going to kind of help to get your ideas out there? Or
I think anytime you've got television, obviously amplifying your message, it builds name ID, it allows voters to know what you stand for, who you are. I think that helps us.
Great. Nice job. Can you tell me why you attended the forum today?
As a first-time voter, I really wanted to be just more informed about what was going on in the election. Just kind of get a grasp for who I was going to be voting for.
Did you feel that you were able to receive a good amount of information about the candidates and their future policies?
I do, but I wish that there was a little bit more, maybe some interaction between the people there and the candidates themselves, which there really wasn't. But I thought it was a good, more explanation of what they were thinking.
I attended the 2016 Republican Senatorial Forum at the University of Baltimore on March 22nd. The candidates present were Chris Kafalis, Richard Douglas, and Kathy Salega. Technology and media play major roles in the culture of the United States, and that made it very interesting that the forum is actually televised on local news stations. In my interview with Chris Kafalis, who who was a candidate at the forum, he stated that he was also very pleased with the fact that this forum would be televised, as it would reach way more constituents that way. What was also interesting is that all the candidates played on the gender roles, which also are very present in the United States culture. For example, Kathy Salega emphasized her role as a mother, as a grandmother, and as a daughter, whereas Richard Douglas emphasized his past military presence, not only to show his abilities to deal with national security problems and so forth, but also to emphasize his role as a male, as a protector, and as a dominant factor in society. Overall, the forum was quite similar to a presidential debate, but the candidates were not allowed to speak with one another, only to the proctors. It was a great experience, and it was very interesting to learn about what goes on at things like this and how the culture plays a big role in forums such as this one. Thank you.